The hour of 7 o'clock having arrived. Let the call the council to order. Let the roll reflect that all council members are in attendance with the exception of Councilmember Balsanic. A quorum has been established. Council, tonight we have three items that we want to attend to first. The first thing we have is the National Public Works Week of the City of Hastings, declaring May 20th to 26th as National Public Works Week. Nick, did you want to introduce the proclamation a little bit, and then we'll read it, talk about it a bit? Welcome to the meeting, Nick.
Sure.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Mayor Hicks. Good evening, council members. This is something we did last year. I think it was the first time the city had ever adopted a proclamation, but the American Public Works Association is a North American-wide association, about 30,000 members, made up of various public works providing agencies in the area. And it recognizes public works on a national or international scale every year during the month of May, and encourages folks that are in the industry and members in that organization to do the same on the local scale. So I've carried that forward now. This is the second year that we've done that, but it's essentially just a way to help focus a little more attention on the industry that we have and its importance in daily life for everyone who lives or does business within the city, from providing clean water to clearing streets, patching potholes, cutting grass, all kinds of things. Our crew, 22 people out of the Public Works shop, mostly do that pretty quietly, but this is a chance to toot the horn a little bit and draw a little more attention and recognition to that important role. So we have a proclamation that kind of walks through identifying those things. So I'll turn it back to you to carry on with.
Thank you for your presentation, Nick. Council, let's read the proclamation, and we'll begin to my right with Councilmember Brox, and then the last. Mark, why don't you read the last two whereas, and I'll finish it up on the end. Councilmember Brox.
Whereas the American Public Works Association has celebrated the annual National Public Works Week since 1960, and
whereas public works services provided in our community to nearly 23,000 residents and hundreds of businesses are an integral part of everyday life, and
whereas good infrastructure, facilities, and public works services are essential for a high quality of life and the well-being of the people of our city, and
is it me then? Okay. Whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, who are the equipment operators, technicians, support staff, engineers, and managers responsible for building, improving, protecting, and maintaining our city's water supply, sanitary sewers, streets, bridges, and stormwater treatment and drainage infrastructure, and
whereas the support and understanding of an informed citizenry and business community is essential for the proper and efficient operation of an infrastructure system, and whereas the efficiency of 22 qualified and dedicated personnel who staff our Public Works Department is materially influenced by the public's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform, and
whereas it is the public interest for the citizens, the civic leaders, and the children of the city of Hastings to enhance their knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Hastings does hereby proclaim the week of May 20th through the 26th, 2018 as National Public Works Week, the power of public works in the City of Hastings. And we call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works professionals make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Adopted by the City Council of the City of Hastings this 21st day of May 2018. Thank you, Council. Nick, any closing words?
I appreciate it very much that the council made the proclamation. A couple of things that we're going to do this year, kind of continuing that drawing attention to the topic, is to feature some social media posts on various employees and little tidbits about what they do. Show them in action and just put a face to the role that it plays. also having a couple of meals out at Public Works as kind of a staff appreciation. One will be a breakfast tomorrow morning and then a lunch cookout on Friday afternoon. So any of you are welcome to swing by and enjoy the handiwork there. I'll be the chef, so it won't be a kitchen night.
Maybe I won't be able to make it, I don't know. That sounds great.
Touche.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that very much. Council, next, as we do every year, and it's always a great time, and it's hosted by our Heritage Preservation Commission, we're going to have the Heritage Preservation Commission give out their annual awards, and Justin, I'll turn it over to you, and council, why don't we come in front of the dais here and accept the award winners when they get their awards.
Thank you. I'll introduce the presenter in a minute, but I just wanted to let everyone know that the HPC will call for your name if you won an award, and you can come up and get your plaque and go up to the dais for a photograph when everyone gets there. Amy Martin is the chair of the HPC, and she's going to be presenting the awards tonight with Kathy Sawick-Siemens.
Okay. So my name is Amy Martin. I've been on the HPC for 16 years, and I would like to thank the mayor, Mayor Hicks, and the council for your ongoing support, and Justin for all the work that you do for us, too. All right. So each year in May, the Preservation Awards recognize residential and commercial historic properties that have been well-maintained or restored in accordance with the city's historic preservation guidelines. This year we have 5 award-winning properties. In the past years, many of the properties selected were from outside of the city's historic districts, and they were not individually designated. So this year you're going to see some really landmark properties winning awards, and that's the reason that they haven't been nominated earlier. We're going to start with the Hastings Arts Center, the former Guardian Angels Church. So we're looking for Travis and Sarah Lockwood. Oh. Okay, protecting, oh, sorry. Oh, so this is an interior shot. Another interior shot of the lovely work done inside. Oops, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, protecting historic properties that are at risk is an important element of the HPC's mission. Adaptive reuse of commercial properties is one of the biggest preservation challenges that municipalities face. The Hastings Arts Center is a great example of creative, successful, community-minded adaptive reuse of a property that for more than 130 years played a significant role in the life of many Hastings residents. Travis and Sarah Lockwood converted the former Guardian Angels Catholic Church into a hub for the visual and performing arts, as well as an event space. Uses that are highly compatible with the design of the building, as well as being respectful of its original use as a church. So we are very pleased to give an award to Travis and Sarah Lockwood and the Hastings Arts Center. Thank you. Okay, so we have a new award tonight, the Hastings Heritage Preservation Stewardship Award. And would like Logan and Ashley Miller to come up. And their daughters. Hi. Yes. Hi, guys. So this is the Heinen House, built around 1890. The original owner of this beautiful, prominently located Queen Anne home was John Heinen, an attorney, judge, banker, and the Hastings mayor during the construction of the Spiral Bridge in 1895. Notable features of this landmark property include a unique round corner window, ornate shingled and carved exterior detail, stained glass, a wraparound porch, dormers with arched windows, and an elaborate second-story medallion. Previous owners Dan and Julia Greil received one of the first preservation awards in 2001 for their extensive rehab and restoration work on the property. We don't have a before picture, do we, on this? Okay. To highlight the importance and necessity of an ongoing commitment to preservation, we created the Hastings Heritage Preservation Stewardship Award. Each year, we'll give a stewardship award to a previously recognized property that exemplifies this ongoing commitment. So this year, we want to recognize and thank Logan and Ashley Miller, who have done an outstanding job of maintaining this home's previous restoration work and providing ongoing stewardship for the property. So thank you, guys. All right. Also relatively new, we have started recognizing mid-century architecture. So this home at 839 5th Street West belongs to Ryan and Sarah Hummel and their son. This attractive and distinctive mid-century rambler was built in 1950 when Hastings, like many towns, was experiencing a post-World War II housing boom. The property has had only 2 owners in 68 years. Mary McCain, the original owner, had significant input into its design, including the very unique corner windows. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but the windows come together. There's no wall space between them. They just make up the corner. And the current owners, Ryan and Sarah Hummel, have done a wonderful job of preserving and maintaining this mid-century home. So thank you. All right. Most everyone recognizes this house, the Ignatius Eckert House. Jackie McNamara, would you like to come up? So this home was built in the early 1850s and moved from Nininger to Hastings in 1857 by merchant Thomas Reed. It was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. This Italian villa-style home was characterized by the U.S. Department of the Interior as one of the finest examples of this type of architecture in Minnesota. This lovely landmark home has been impeccably maintained by Jackie McNamara. Among its many distinctive features, a charming cupola with 8 small windows, 2 on each side, a hipped roof, tripartite bay window, double door front entry, and a partially screened porch with classical columns. It's really pretty. I hope you don't have a ton of people wandering by looking too closely, but the more attention I paid to it, the more I just was in awe of how pretty this was. So, thank you, Jackie. All right. And let's see, John could not be here tonight, but the last house is at 701 Ramsey. It's the John Novak, the Voight Novak house, built around 1905. This lovely and well-maintained classical revival-style property is well-suited to its corner lot locale, with interesting architectural features on all facades. It was built by the same man responsible for rebuilding the First Presbyterian Church in Hastings after a 1907 fire. And I found two different names, so I'm not going to say the name, so I don't know who it was. Notable architectural details of this property include an open wraparound porch, leaded glass windows, Palladian windows in the gable ends, and a round arched window at the entry. Owner John Novak removed the aluminum siding in 2007, something we are always happy to see an application for. Thank you. He has done a wonderful job of keeping this grand historic home in stellar condition, both inside and out. So is that, okay. All right, that's it.
I'd like to thank everyone here tonight. Those are wonderful properties and the great investments in the city of Hastings, and the HPC for doing all the hard work and researching this and following through the guidelines. So we have these type of properties being continued to be recognized and to promote what it means to invest into our properties in the city of Hastings. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, next, council, we have the minutes of the regular meeting of May 7th. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. We cannot forget this because Jeff is here today. Did I? Oh, I could see. You know, you're so short. I can't see you. We have a presentation of the Emerald Ash Borer, and Chris, our distinguished Parks and Rec Director, is here to introduce Jeff. Go right ahead, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the meeting. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Yeah, as you said, tonight I'm here to introduce Mr. Jeff Hafner from Rainbow Tree Care. He's going to provide an educational session about emerald ash borer and what our treatment program is here in Hastings. And just want to mention that Rainbow Tree Care has been a fantastic partner to work with through this emerging issue we have here in Hastings and around the rest of the state of Minnesota and much of the Midwest too. So with that, Mr. Hafner.
Thanks, Chris.
Mr. Hafner, welcome to the council meeting. We're very glad to have you here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm thrilled to be here. It's a tough act to follow, but I do have preservation as part of the presentation. So it's just a lot of smaller pieces of preservation. This is a look back to 2017. It's also a look ahead to 2018. So there'll be components of both throughout. And I want to just introduce quickly what I do for cities. I take what the insights are gained at the university level through study and research and review, and I try to get that applied at management level at the municipal level. So with that, I develop comprehensive plans, and I look at municipal budget modeling and show municipalities how protecting their trees is actually a better investment, I think. long-term than removing and replacing trees. Much like structure preservation, there's value inherent in something that's already established, and maintaining it is often a better investment than the cost of tearing it all down and starting all over. And then I work to create and implement these municipal and homeowner programs that really maximize the tree protection in a community, which then reduces the pest pressure. And I'll go into more detail about that. It's kind of what my focus is. I want to talk about benefits of trees first and foremost, because if we don't love trees, then none of it makes any sense. Luckily for us, trees are well liked in most communities. It's hard to find a group of people that would proclaim themselves as tree haters. Trees reduce stormwater that runs into our storm drains. They save energy, they store carbon, they improve air quality, human health, they reduce crime, reduce noise, and they do all of that while being well liked. So it's hard to find any singular component that can do all of that in our community. So once those trees get large and established and provide those benefits for us, it's really a good idea to keep them where we can. But then, of course, emerald ash borer shows up, and it's been in this community for a couple years now, and it does do a lot of damage if left to its own devices. It's an introduced pest from China. It has no native predators, and it has an unlimited food supply in the thousands and thousands of ash trees that are planted in our community. So it can reproduce at exponential levels and eventually take over all of the unprotected trees in a community. And we see in communities that just kind of wait and react to this pest, they see very large increases in the numbers of dead trees that they have to react to, both on the public side of the property line and on the private side. So you get a few years of quiet and calm while the pest is getting really built up in its numbers, and then you'll see a lot of trees die in a short amount of time. We call that the death curve, the EAB death curve, when you see a large spike in annual tree mortality because of emerald ash borer. I'm happy to take any questions along the way. I'm going through this kind of fast because I assume you're all well versed in EAB, but I'm happy to take any questions. Anyone? Good. So this is what EAB looks like when it reaches that kind of critical mass under the bark. The larvae are feeding under the bark on what we call the vascular system, the conductive tissues right under the bark. And you can see once they reach that level, the tree really has no ability to transport the food and nutrients that it needs, and it just dies. This is where EAB is so far confirmed in Hastings. Now, the tricky part about confirming emerald ash borer is that it's often just the tip of the iceberg. You see decreasing levels of infestation from each point, and you can see satellite infestations that show up years later. So while it's important to know where it is and to take action there specifically, it's also important for the rest of the community to just assume that their trees are at risk, their ash trees are at risk, and if they want to preserve them, that now is the time to take action. It's also a fine time to decide if you don't want to preserve your trees, that take them down now, because once emerald ash borer kills them, they get much more difficult to remove because they're so brittle. They get much more hazardous, and any removal operations get more expensive and more difficult. The process we use is called tree injection. It's an injection of an insecticide right at the soil line or the base of the tree where the stem tissue transitions to root tissue. A series of small holes is drilled around the base of it, and then product is applied under low pressure and allowed to be taken up into that vascular system by the tree, causing any insect that feeds on the tree to be killed. So this kills the very destructive larva under the bark as it's feeding, but it also kills any adults that might be flying to that tree from neighboring trees. The adults feed on the leaves and they're also killed. So every tree to tree that's in the environment is reducing that pest pressure, reducing the likelihood of that exponential increase in insect numbers, and reducing that peak untreated death, reducing that death curve, and that's where we see the maximum benefit. Regardless of who owns the tree, you lose trees at a slower rate across the entire community. So I really boiled it down to the three biggest reasons a community would implement a homeowner program like here in Hastings. That death curve, like I mentioned, that's the rate at which unprotected ash trees die. That's the biggest obstacle to allow any community to transition from where they are today to where they're going to be in the next 10 or 20 years. So if we increase the number of treated trees in that given population, we flatten that death curve and allow all ash tree owners more time to make up their minds, to get their decisions figured out, and really to get the money they need. If a homeowner is electing to remove their ash tree, it can often be a surprise hit to their budget. So by reducing that pest pressure and reducing that death curve, it allows for more time to raise the funds if that's what's needed. But like I said, tree protection is typically far less expensive than removal and replacement. So it's a great option for people to protect their trees, and then you get the spillover benefits of reduced pest pressure along the way. So if we reduce all those peak tree deaths, all accompanying tasks and the costs associated with them all come down. So on an annual level, the community as a whole will be spending less over a longer period of time while keeping more trees. So I'll talk about what Rainbow Tree Care has been doing specifically in Hastings to amplify the city message regarding the need to take action, that emerald ash borer is here, and that homeowners have options that they can utilize. We've printed a postcard both in 2017 and 2018. I hope you all got one. Anyone not get one? Whew, that's a relief. So that went to all residents last year and this year. We've also created a digital flyer that's available to be hosted on the city website with links back and forth from the city page to our page and vice versa. And then that city-specific website that allows for homeowners to sign up easily to have us look at either preserving their tree or just giving it a general health assessment, giving the homeowners more information to make their decisions. And I included examples of all of these. That was the flyer for 2017. Now you can see the slight changes we made for 2018. Most of the messaging is the same, really just encouraging homeowners to take action now, and that protecting their trees is a lower cost with bigger gain than the inverse of removing their tree at a higher cost. On the back you can see just some general information, but I wanted to just call out, we created a specific EAB hotline number, so as homeowners reach out to us, they skip through the phone queue and go right to a customer service rep, so they get faster service. Those reps have all been trained specifically on municipal programs and can answer questions faster. Going the wrong direction. Here's the EAB flyer, much of the same messaging in longer form than the postcard, but you can see we call out specifically the city's page where emerald ash borer information is found, and then also link to our page, which looks like this. For homeowners to take action, there's an easy form. We've really streamlined the process so that anyone in Hastings who is interested in having us come out can find us very fast and get attention quickly. So just a quick map of the success of last year. Excuse me. 420 ash trees were protected in the city last year, about 7,100 diameter inches, so measured across the stem at 4.5 feet above the ground. Really good participation. That's definitely making a difference in suppressing that pest pressure because there are fewer susceptible hosts in the environment to host those insects. We hope for at least this, if not more, participation in 2018, and then just continued growth in advance of when the trees get attacked to the point where we can't protect them anymore. Any protected tree, of course, will be protected as long as the homeowner takes action, but there will be some unprotected trees that in 5 years will likely have declined to the point where we just can't treat them anymore. And that's it for me, but I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hafner. Questions? Councilmember Vaughn.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you have any statistics on how many are calling you versus actually 420? Are you getting 1,200 calls, or how many people from Hastings are actually interested in this, and how many are acting on it?
I don't have any statistics. We would be in a better position at the end of the year to look at the whole workflow. That it wasn't something we had tracked at the time that I put this together, but we certainly can see how many calls come in and how many turn into appointments and then how many proposals. But it's still early for us to have that data.
I think that would be good data for me at least, just to
Sure.
see where our program's headed, because you used a couple words here that were intriguing, Your Honors. He said, eventually, someday, these trees are gonna have to come down. But this is one way of helping it get a little longer. But how about education-wise? How far can this so-called bug, you said it the ones flying in or whatever, is it neighborhood to neighborhood, city to city? How do they travel? Is it coming via river, or how do they get from? Because if we do a really good job on the east side, what if the west side says, I'm not gonna do it? And are we gonna, not as a community, doing the right thing?
Okay, that's a lot. Those are all great. Starting with the first one, protected trees will remain protected as long as the tree is protected. The ash trees will die in the future of other things, but they won't be killed by EAB. Unprotected trees will eventually succumb because the pest pressure will eventually reach a point where they will be killed, but we'll see that happen at a slower rate with a greater number of treated trees in the environment. So that was the first point. The second one was spread rates.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they can fly a mile or two on their own without much problem. So yes, they move through river corridors, but they move the farthest and the fastest with human activity. They tend to hitch rides in firewood or nursery stock or even just on vehicles. You'll see a lot of infestations, satellite infestations showing up on major highway corridors. Neighborhood to neighborhood, yes, certainly through flying. Anytime we reduce the number of insects in a community, we reduce the likelihood that insects spread from the community, so treatments still help with that. But it's difficult to completely eliminate satellite infestations. The example I call on the most, I think, is in Colorado. One day they were 600 miles from the closest infestation, and the next day they were confirmed because somebody had moved it all across Nebraska and it deposited it there. So no one is really safe regardless of the mode of transportation, so the best thing you can do is just protect the trees you want to keep.
Thank you. More questions? Councilmember Fulch.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just more of a comment about where it originated. Within our community, Ground Zero was right off of the railroad tracks. It was a homeowner down in the Cowtown neighborhood, and I visited with him 2 summers ago, and it was very interesting. He had 5 ash trees all in a row, and they were all stick dead. And I felt awful for him because, it was over $1,000 to remove each tree, and he was doing what he could, to take them down at that time. And for folks who were trying to make out on the map where it was that, it's spreading, it's wrapping itself around Lake Isabel through the Cowtown neighborhood, and it's working its way up, or I should say down, Tyler Street. And I think the last DNR confirmed hit is around 8th Street or 10th Street or something like that, like Tyler and 10th Street. And so it's making its way upward one. And what's really amazing is if you were to see a boulevard pin map, that area east of Highway 61 is just full of ash trees. So it's a little concerning that we see a lot of the folks who are treating their trees, are on the west side of Highway 61, but there's really a dense population that's on the east side, and that's, where the infestation is at its greatest. And so I live on Tyler Street myself, and late last fall I had my tree treated, and I have a ginormous tree. It was 39 inches at chest height diameter, and I think it cost about $350 to have it treated, which is like kind of worst case scenario. But when I had a person come by and give me estimates for, tree trimming and such, and I brought him in back and I asked, well, how much would it be to remove that tree? And he laughed. He wouldn't even give me an estimate because it was gonna be so much, just in the thousands of dollars. And so I just would like to thank Jeff for being such a great partner to the city of Hastings. He's also been a great partner in the city of Red Wing, where I work. And I just wanted to bring up that what we'll be seeing this summer is in both communities, Hastings and Red Wing, there'll be a tree wrap informational campaign that'll be out there to try to draw awareness so that residents, if you see, I'm not sure if they're going to be yellow or green banners yet, and but you see them, that's what it's going to be about, is to try to bring community awareness about this infestation within our community. So thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, that was very informative. Appreciate that. All those who are viewing the council meeting tonight at home, please consider, if you have ash trees, check into it. It's important to protect our ash tree population. So thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate the information.
Thanks.
Okay, council, next we have approval of the minutes. That sounds familiar. The regular city council meeting on May 7th, 2018. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes of that meeting? Okay. Seeing none, council, we'll go to council items to be considered. Any council items to be considered? Seeing none, we'll go to consent agenda. Council, what's your wish? Councilmember Brox makes a motion to approve, second by Councilmember Lund. That motion is now before the body. Is there any discussion to that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails. We have an awarding of contracts and public hearings. Under that heading, we have a public hearing in regard to a Sidewalk Cafe license and a liquor license amendment for Spiral Brewery. Julie's here to introduce that item. Julie, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Nick and Amy Fox, on behalf of Spiral Brewery, have submitted application materials for a Sidewalk Cafe to their storefront. As you recall, in our May 7th meeting, we made some ordinance adjustments to allow for outside food from other establishments to be brought in so that it would accommodate their ability to have a Sidewalk Cafe. So on the screen, you'll see the rendition that was provided. They plan to have 3 tables out front, 4 seats each. The 12 seats will not trigger any additional whack and sack fees. And we've ensured that there will be enough ADA compliance where wheelchairs can still get through the room that we need. Next picture will show you the tables that they plan to use. These are tables that were previously at Breakaway Arts Cafe, and they plan to put 4 chairs around each. And then the final slide will show you the fencing material that's proposed. So it's a metal pole, have a cement bottom, and it'll have 2 chain links, and that'll be the barrier between the street and the cafe. So Nick and Amy are here if you have any questions, or I can stand for any, or you can open the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Julie, for introducing that item. I'm going to open the public hearing right now. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this particular issue in regards to the cafe license, liquor license amendment? Seeing none, I am going to close the public hearing. Council will take up this issue. Council, what's your wish? Councilmember Fulch?
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
In regards to the barriers that are required, now, do we require all sidewalk cafes to have the barriers, or is it just for the ones that serve alcohol?
Julie, or?
I don't think we have any that don't serve alcohol. But I think I honestly don't know because we don't have any that don't serve alcohol.
But if you do, you have to have this.
If you serve alcohol, you have to.
Thank you, and Aaron, I make a motion to approve.
Okay, Councilmember Fultz makes a motion to approve, seconded by Councilmember Vaughn. That motion is now before the body. Is there any further discussion to that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails. Thank you. Thank you for your investment in the community. Appreciate it. Okay, next, council, we're going to have we have a resolution tonight to reauthorize a special use permit at automotive repair at 223 West 11th Street. John, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. What we have before us tonight is the reauthorization of a previously issued special use permit. This is for the former mileage gas station located at 223 West 11th Street, just on Highway 55 west of Vermillion. The station there has been closed for a couple of years, and a new owner has come forward looking at purchasing the building, but is interested in ensuring that the special use permit is still active. The special use permit itself was issued in 1985 for automotive repair. You recall at the location there are a couple of garage bays on the side of the property. The new owner wishes to reopen those. And so because the special use permit was issued and there was no sunset date established at that time, we believe that the special use permit is still valid, but in order to further solidify the use on the property, we're asking for the attached resolution to reaffirm the issuance of that permit. Now, this action would only require a simple majority of the city council members because we are not issuing a new special use permit, but just reaffirming a previously issued permit on that. When we look at today's circumstances with special use permits, we do establish sunset clauses on them, and we do pass those by resolution. At the time that this was done, neither of those were an activity. So I can stand for any questions that you have. Thank you.
Okay, council, this issue is before us. What's your wish? Councilmember Lund?
Just a quick, thank you, Your Honor. Just a quick question. Which building is it that they're proposing to use? There's 2 on that property, correct? So Is
Sure.
it both, or is there future plans? It's,
Sure, council member. They would be utilizing both buildings, the gas station site itself, and then the repair garage. The repair garage is the subject of the special use permit.
Councilmember Brox.
I just have a question about the history. Where did the requirement for a fence along the southern side come from? Was that from the residents that live on that behind?
I would believe so, council member. The proximity of that would have been a good guess as to why the fence requirement was triggered on that.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Not, I'll seek a motion to approve the special use permit continuation. Councilmember Brox makes that motion. Is there a second to that motion? Seconded by Councilmember Liefeld. That motion is now before the body. Is there any discussion to that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, council, that concludes our business for now. Comments from the audience? Is there any comments from the audience this evening? Comments from the audience? Seeing none, we have announcements, council? Council, announcements. Any announcements? Councilmember Vaughn?
Just a FYI that the Red Rock corridor meeting that was scheduled for Thursday, the 24th, has been canceled.
Okay. That opened up your schedule. That's good. Okay. Councilmember Liefeld.
Just a clarification, is the second reading not necessary after the public hearing on the Sidewalk Cafe? We do both at once?
The public hearing is the second reading.
Okay, just noticed it was in a spot under reports from city staff, so just wanted to clarify. Thank you, Your Honor.
And then I went to it for approval. And that was
Perfect.
it.
Thank you.
Okay. And let's see, any other announcements? Inquiries? Okay. If not, council, I have a few announcements. On Tuesday, May 22nd at 5:30 PM, the City Community Development Tour. So that's tomorrow, council. We all get to spend some time together tomorrow on a bus, and I can't wait. Okay, so we'll have a good time. I don't know if that bus is gonna stop anywhere, perhaps maybe at the Spiral. But in any event, well, at 5:30, we're going to be on the Community Development Tour, okay? Also, tomorrow begins the filing for city offices. Those who would be interested in the office of at-large city council and the office of mayor, those filing for office can begin tomorrow on May 22nd and goes till Tuesday, June 5th. Tuesday, June 5th. On Monday, May 28th, of course, city offices will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. Tuesday, May 29th at 7 PM, the Planning Commission will be meeting here. On Monday, June 4th, that is our next regular scheduled city council meeting, and prior to that meeting at 6 PM, the city council candidate informational meeting will be held for those who have questions about being a candidate and some of the rules and regulations that are required. And then at 7 PM, the city council will meet at its next regular meeting at 7 PM, Monday, June 4th. Chris, I finally recognize him. I can see him, he's gone, but it's his birthday on May 25th. So when you get to see Chris, wish him a very happy birthday. Council, we have no other business before us. A motion to adjourn is in order. Councilmember Brox makes that motion, seconded by Councilmember Vaughn. A non-debatable motion. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails, and we are adjourned. Thank you.